Welcome to the Talk and Chatter experience powered by Gasoline Alley Harley-Davidson. This show is also supported by DK Creations in Slacks Creek for all your metal fabrication requirements. Our guest today is Jon Hafey. Jon is a successful motorcycle racer and has been part of the industry for many decades now. Jon has been able to share his many years of extensive industry experience to many other racers and help them achieve their goals within the motorcycle racing sector. If you get the chance, head over to YouTube and hit subscribe on our channel and give us a rating and a review on iTunes. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome, Jon Hafey.
How are you, Mick?
Mate, I'm really good. Thank you so much for taking the time to come in and see me.
Yeah, no worries.
Who's Jon Hafey?
I'm not sure. Controversial character, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah, apparently.
Over many years within the industry.
Yeah.
And you've been in the industry longer than you haven't, really, I guess, eh?
Absolutely, all my life.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it's really good now.
To look back on that, obviously.
Yeah, obviously there's been a lot of bumps in the road, but there's been a lot of good times, and it's good fun. I couldn't do anything else. I don't know what else I would do.
Is that funny to sort of sit there now and think of it like that? Like, where would you have gone if you didn't pursue motorcycle or motorcycle industry?
Oh, I have no idea.
No clue.
No.
Yep.
No, motorcycles grabbed me really early, really early. And my family don't have any history of motorcycles.
Really?
No.
So, okay, then, take it back to there. Where did it start for you then, if you had no family history?
My father's brothers, I guess.
Yeah.
Their kids got me into it. They gave me a Deltek rock hopper as a hand-me-down.
Really?
Yeah. I won't say what year. But it had a 7 in front of it.
So a Deltek rock hopper is sort of like, remember that era, I'm guessing, was where they made like a Bridgestone motorcycle and everything that sort of was a similar sort of guild. Was that right?
It's got a Victor
motor?
Victor 125 power plant, mate. Yep. Full start.
Now, you're a collector a bit of stuff. Do you still have it?
Yep.
You do?
Yep.
Because I know we've spoken a few times because you do push bikes as well.
Yes.
Are you just a collector of things that you've ridden or raced, or are you just someone that just enjoys the history of these sports?
Absolutely, the history of the sport.
Yeah.
The collection's gone up and down over the years with the bumps in the road. I guess I have been trimming it lately down to the things that I raced or the things that mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when you got that Deltek, was that before a push bike, or was this push bikes were the thing?
Not before a push bike, but I can remember the very first day riding it.
The Deltek?
Yeah.
Yeah. What part do you remember? Were you nervous, or was it something you just...
My auntie, his dad's older sister, all I remember is her telling me to harden up because I fell off, and we didn't wear helmets or anything then.
Yep.
And I think my nose bled for about an hour and a half.
Wow.
And she's holding my head over the sink and trying to,
yeah.
And I'm crying, and she's like, "You need to harden up,"
Can you imagine that nowadays? But it worked.
Yeah, well, probably needs to be more of it.
For sure. Where was this at?
Toowoomba. We lived on sort of semi-acreage out of town. We had 5 acres.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Yeah, just on the western side of Toowoomba.
Great breeding ground for starting out on motorcycles.
Yes.
Now that was it a good memory? Like, were you, like, from day one? Like, I've told people on here before. My first day was until getting on it. Was nervous as anything. Didn't want to be part of a motorcycle, even though my family was heavily into it. When I got it on, were you like that, or was it you just wanted?
Yeah, well,
it?
I guess it was the opposite because my family weren't into it.
So you just wanted it.
Yep. Yeah, and I know Dad used to run into town on a Sunday morning, and I'd always say, "Can you get me a motorbike magazine, Dad?"
Yep.
And he'd bring one back, and sometimes I road racing magazines, but it didn't worry me. I read it cover to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a hobbyist when you got that Deltek, hobby riding, just learning around paddocks and...
Yeah, around the yard. And
many people into it in Toowoomba at that time?
Well, it's hard to know, I was only bred around my own yard.
Ah, okay, yep.
And then I think the same cousins got me a YZ80D.
Wow.
Not long after. I guess I might have been 7 or 8. I'm not sure. It was too big for me and too powerful. And it didn't go very often. And I do remember once begging Mum to ride it one afternoon after school because the rules were certainly not until Dad got home.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I talked her into it, but eventually I had her out the the front of the house, starting me down the driveway.
And I was at 80.
Yeah, and next thing it took off and went down the hill beside the dam and straight into the Besser Block pump station. I think I got confiscated for at least a year after that.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a bummer.
That is a bummer.
Yeah.
These are influential years. So really, so that was goodbye to the wise Ed for that time.
Yeah, for a little while.
Yeah. Were you able to, find anyone else at this time, like wandering around push bikes and that?
Had some great friends up the street.
Yeah.
That had bikes as well, and we were just always out on the BMXs and
cool.
in the paddock. And then I vividly remember, I think there was an ad, or it might have been a news clip on the sports channel about Mr. Motocross at Tivoli.
Yeah, right.
And all I remember is Mum or Dad, I'm not sure which one, saying, "Do you want to do that, son?" And I said yes. And shortly after, we got an RM50.
Oh, wow.
And they took me out to the local club, which was at Charlton Speedway at the time, next door.
Damn. So that's sort of where like the foundation of things like racing and stuff started.
Yeah, that's
there.
how it started. Yeah.
And that was motocross within the Speedway place, was it? Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
What happened to that place? Obviously, over time, just disappeared, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the club moved eventually, but it was there for, that would have been 1980 or 81.
Yep.
And it was there until I think 86.
Do you remember your first time on that YZ? Like, do you remember what you thought?
No.
It would have been a crazy, powerful animal of a bike. At 7
Yeah, I
years
was
old.
probably too young. I just remember hitting that pump station,
Vividly.
Yeah.
So, did you get to that Mr. Motocross at Tivoli?
No, but very fortunate to grow up in Toowoomba, because Mr. Motocross came to Mountain Man was at Echo Valley, and shortly after that, Mr. Motocross arrived. So we used to go there for sure.
And then later dates, you got to race it, obviously. Hey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll get to that, obviously, mate. But
Yeah.
that's an iconic event for a lot of people. Our best of the best of all had a chance to do that, I'm guessing. Hey. So,
Yeah.
So at Charlton, you just did motocross, got into that sort of thing, bit of BMX along the way.
Yeah, I always had. I did race BMX once, but
to
be honest, I was nowhere.
So why have a passion for BMX bikes as you?
I was just lived for it when I was a kid, and I'd always rode it.
Yeah.
And I wished I could ride BMX, but I guess my little legs are just
not your thing.
They're just not built for pedaling. And I mountain bike now, and I'm okay downhill, but I'm nowhere climbing.
Show us your arm. I've seen that this morning.
Yeah.
Narang.
Yeah.
So you're riding a fair bit too, aren't you? You're on the mountain bike a couple of times a week.
Yep, really enjoy it.
Do you like just love that, or is it just does that give you a chance to like ride something with two wheels that's closer to a motorcycle? Or?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's addictive, eh?
Yeah.
Damn things.
Yeah. Mm.
After the RM50.
Yes.
Which they didn't make much longer after that, didn't they? They converted over to the JR.
It was a very uncompetitive bike, to be honest. Like, I think I won a lot of races at my local club. But I remember the first title meeting that Mum and Dad took me to down at Wheel Standers, and I think I got there and there was, 700 bikes. And
700?
Yeah, it was big sport then.
Wow.
And there was probably 660 Yamahas.
Was it 60?
50, 60, 80, 100s, yeah. So some of those classes, Yamaha were the only people that made a bike.
For someone that's been in the sport for so long, like you must look back at that with 700 competitors. And, we go to an event now, and we've been to a few events lately together, and people talk about we've got good entries at 160.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
How much things have changed in regards to many different sports.
It's gone up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though. That's 700.
We did hit those numbers again around 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got pretty, popular up until the GFC time,
Yes.
Again, so there's no reason why it can't go back to that either, I feel.
It will.
Yeah.
That's how
it's just
things,
cycles, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's how things go.
So down at Tivoli, how'd you go? Obviously under competitive bike.
At Wheel Standers?
Wheel Standers.
No.
Just couldn't.
Nowhere.
Nowhere?
I don't think my dad took me back the second day.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, I was probably really psyched out. It was very confronting for me.
Yeah, well, it would have been, I guess.
You know, in my local club, I think there was 6 in my class.
Yep.
You know,
and then you go to something like that.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it, you know, as a 8-year-old or 9 or whatever age you are.
And there
at
was
that
mud.
time. Yeah, right. Something different to what you would have ridden in.
Yeah, I'd never seen that.
Mud on a RM50. You got what? 8-inch rims, probably.
10, 12 they are.
12s?
Yeah.
Are they
Yeah.
10, 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, bit harder.
Yeah. It's all part of learning. Yeah.
It is for sure. Okay, so once you got through all that sort of period, what was the next sort of bike up? Did you go to 125 or did you?
No, so obviously the next step's an 80.
Yeah.
And I think Mum and Dad went out one Thursday night and went to every dealer in Toowoomba, and
Yeah.
kind of the best reception they got was at the Kawasaki shop. And I think Dad remembered from the meeting at Wheelstanders, a good friend of mine now was winning in the 9 to 10 class on a KX80.
Yeah.
So Dad went, I've seen one of those go all right, you know. And the salesman there, or the owner, did a fantastic job, so they brought it home.
Wow.
And I really took off then.
And was it a good bike?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah.
At the time?
I had some massive crashes on it because I was only really little.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was good.
Do you remember the dealer up there? Like, are you friends with him now?
And no, he's not with us anymore, but
Okay. Yeah.
he become like a second dad to me.
Wow.
Yep.
That I think, and I grew up in Ballina. We had a motorcycle store right next to where I lived, and those people do become your family. You know, like especially if you're into it. And I remember as a kid, you know, that's the fondest memories, and you know you have such an attachment to your motorcycle dealer as a kid. You know,
Joe?
Yeah. It was, yeah. Joe
really?
and the Martins.
That's why he didn't die from the cigar smoke.
No, it was no. So I lived right next door to Seaside Motorcycles.
Yeah.
So
They're good friends of mine.
Jeff and Barry, obviously, the business partners in that, they're still close family friends, and but those people are like a family. You know, you're next to the bike store, you're part of the bike store, and you know, I don't hang around bike stores enough now to know if it's still the same, but you knew everything about that bike store at that age. They were family.
Yeah, I lived there. That was,
you did?
Yeah. If I wasn't at school,
it was there.
yeah, and sometimes I wasn't at school.
Just to go there.
Yeah.
And okay, so did you start traveling with the KX at that point? You're saying you started to get better and more comfortable, but did you have to?
Yeah, you know, 80. Well, about midway through 82.
Yeah.
I was winning all my races at the local club, and I didn't really have much competition in my age.
Yeah.
And this guy turned up, and he also had a KX80.
Right.
And I remember he took off in the start, you know, in practice, and fishtailed his way all the way down the straight. So, you know, he was pretty erratic.
Yeah.
He was very quick. And he became my main rival for the next 5 years, I guess.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And equaled out wins, you know?
I would say so.
Yeah.
He was really aggressive.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that year, we kind of got the new water-cooled bike, and definitely didn't miss a race in 83. So every 2 weeks we would race, and we'd have 7 or 8 races on that day.
Sorry, that's a hectic schedule, isn't it?
Yeah. And we started to travel.
Yeah, you did? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Queensland?
Yes.
Queensland? Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Was it, you know, if to cast your memory back a bit there, was it a big change to go from like that 82 to an 83? You know, an air-cooled to a water-cooled?
Massive.
It was huge, yeah, at the time?
Yes.
Wow. Because you're one of these people, and we spoke about it here, you've gone from cross pliers to, you know, to a radial.
Yeah.
You know, like, you've been able to just stretch different parts of your career over different times and different, you know, huge steps in technology, I guess, hey?
Yeah, it's good. It's, I guess I'm fortunate, but yeah, that, you know, I told you there was 660 Yamahas. Well, it wasn't long before there was 660 Kawasaki's.
Wow, came through that quick.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did, because they brought out a 60 later that year.
Yeah.
And Kawasaki flew in 3 of them.
KX60s.
Yeah, for the Australian titles at Reedy Creek.
Yeah.
And I got one of them. And,
right.
my mate Rowan, who I spoke about before, got one.
Yeah.
And another mate, Chris Hill, had one. And another guy who's not with us, Chris Lee, had one.
Wow.
And we got first, second, third, and fourth.
Just an all, like, obviously you can ride a bike, but they were just a really good bike too, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were streets ahead of the competition at the time. Yeah.
So what's that, an 83, 84?
It's an 84 model. We got them in September 83.
And the Aussie titles, is it Reedy Creek?
Yeah, I got mine on the Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to ride it there Thursday, or got to ride it before?
Got to ride it in the park.
Yeah.
In Toowoomba, across from the dealership, and then straight down.
With your family not part of motorcycling prior to it, was it a big convince to get them into doing it, or once you?
I guess I don't really remember, and I probably took it for granted. But I see now that they did a lot for me, considering they weren't that into it. Really.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, which probably explains why Dad used to get a little bit overexcited if I didn't give 100% sometimes.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
That's bound to happen, eh?
Mm.
Now, was it always motocross through that era? Or?
No, we did both back then. We did dirt track. Those Australian titles were dirt track.
At Reedy Creek?
Yeah, believe it or not.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Oh, it snaked its way up the gully and back. It was a long
same area as the motocross track was?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh, pre-hatches or something?
Yes.
Built. That was the Gold Coast motorcycle.
That was it, yeah.
Wow, yeah, right. That's that's something I don't know too much about, eh?
Yeah.
It's sad that complex is gone. I think that was a pretty iconic place.
Yeah.
KX60s. What would you move to then? Did you go back up to an 80, or did you hang
I had
on
an
a
80 and a 60.
80 and a 60.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I kind of aged out. I couldn't ride the 60 anymore, so my little sister inherited that.
Yeah.
And I just rode the 80.
Rode the 80s from then. They're a bike that could stretch your ages too, weren't they? You know, at an 80, you could do like a long time.
Well, we had a 17 and over class back then.
What do you mean? 17
years and over
on an 80? Really?
Yeah. Not that I rode one, but yeah.
But you could. Like theoretically, you could not have to be a junior.
And they were little wheels, not big wheels.
So the KX80 standard? Yeah, right. That's weird. Because at current now, what is it, 16? You've got to be off an 80?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think that's how it stands now. Or
basically when you
82 stroke.
Yeah, well, you turn senior at 16.
Yeah, so you've got to be off it by then.
Yeah.
So what sort of... Okay, so that's the mid to late 80s. When did you start... obviously you've won these sorts of events. When did you start, moving on to different sorts of racing?
Well,
how did it all evolve from there,
it was
mate?
all very different. I guess... there was a bit of a GFC at the end of 83 that most people probably don't remember, but it affected my family quite badly.
Yeah.
So my father worked 7 days a week.
What'd your family do in Toowoomba?
Dad's a bricklayer and a builder.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember through 84 and 85, he didn't, he just 7 days a week. So Mum took me to the club and my racing kind of stagnated a bit because my rival kind of got a bit of aggressive at the end of 83 there at a club day and got expelled from the club.
Wow.
He had me by the neck up against the fence.
What'd you do?
Beat him.
Competition, eh?
Yeah. We were 13.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he was aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you said that before, I was wondering how much, but yeah, that's definitely there.
Yeah,
so that was at that time that was out of the club.
Yeah, and then he went down to Ipswich Laidley.
Okay.
Which was a really good natural terrain track on the side of a hill, like a proper motocross track.
Right.
And it wasn't long before he was dominating down there.
Yeah.
And by the end of 85, I think things had started to improve with Mum and Dad, and the dealer who I've already spoken about had organised a coach for me.
Yeah.
And I got it on 125, and we went and joined that club because I needed some competition.
Yeah, okay.
And I can assure you that Bradley was a long way ahead of me at that point.
He just got better.
Yeah.
Continually riding, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. So
Now,
it took the best part of that whole year to catch up.
Where was that place? Like, where was that track?
It's a place called Boosers Hill up at Laidley.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been so many of these places, especially, I guess, out west of Brisbane. There's been so many of these places that you hear of or something disappeared now, but it's interesting to see what races that they would have run there and stuff over the time, I know down at Ormo there's I might have gone now, but there's a big commentary box and stuff down at this place. And I'm like, what's run here? Like, it's a very professional looking place. There's so much history around these little places that have been built over, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So once you caught up to him, was it back on?
Yeah, not for long though. He there was another guy called James Clark who was also really good.
Yeah.
And we were friends. We used to, unlike Bradley and I, James and I were friends.
Yeah.
We used to spend school holidays together and ride on the farm. And so they were the main two guys. And then 87, things started to get a bit more serious. And obviously Dad could see that I was a bit more serious about it and had improved. So we started to ramp things up a bit. And then I broke my knee so bad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or from an over jump of something?
No, I just fell over in a corner and was on a rock and no knee
Yep.
braces in those days. So
Wow.
broke the top of my tibia.
Oh, jeez.
And so there, the bikes got sold while I was in hospital pretty much.
Because, like, even now, that's an excruciating, terrible injury to have. But back then, the science wouldn't have been what it is now.
I know I was in plaster for 3 months.
Damn.
At right angles.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do? They was it a knee reco or?
Well, no. That happened later. But they put a big long screw down through the top of your tibia to screw the top back down. And then then I had to have another operation, obviously, to get that screw out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Far out. So then you're open again. You got to re-heal again.
This leg's still smaller.
Is it?
Yes.
Never been able to get it back?
No.
So what size were you on, a 125? Were you on a
87 KX 125.
KX 125? Yep. Man, that's a serious injury at that age, isn't it?
Yeah, I was 16.
Yep. At that time, like everyone, who's got to work for their passions. When did you get into working in around bikes and bike shops? Did you get into it then?
Well, Noel, the dealer there, he got me a job down the road. He didn't want me to be a mechanic. I wanted to be a mechanic.
Okay, yep.
He just said, look, I think you've got too much intelligence to be a mechanic.
Right.
Sorry about that, but that's what he said. So he got me a job down the road at SKF Bearings as a clerk.
Right.
Which, was really good.
Yep.
I didn't like it at the time, but... I learned about the inner workings of a business when I was 15. So, I was doing the, profit and loss and petty cash.
Yeah. Got to learn everything.
Yeah, I did everything.
And that sort of business, I guess technically for the rest of your life too, you learn metric and imperial stuff very well.
Yeah.
And, every fraction, everything's in your head forever.
That's correct.
And I think that's a really good thing to have.
Yeah, well, I spent 6 years there.
Wow.
But I was only down the road, so it was like 100 metres. So every smoko, lunch, I was in the Kawasaki shop.
Yeah, right. So this is SKF in Toowoomba?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then after a couple of years there, that went, I guess I was, I discovered my mates and girls and bought an RS 2000 and beer and...
Yep. Life.
But, I wanted to race motorbikes.
Yeah.
But, it was just never going to happen at home.
Just got too hard.
Yeah. Then the shop changed hands.
The Kawasaki store?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the new owner, Steve, was a friend of mine, and he knew how bad I wanted to race. I probably shouldn't say this on here, but he guaranteed a loan for me so I could buy a new KX250.
Wow. What are we talking about, 1989?
89.
Yeah. What a cool bike.
Yeah.
Like, really cool bike.
So I started racing motocross again, and that was good.
Yeah.
Had no money. Couldn't afford tear-offs or anything like that, but...
Feel good to race, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
Something that, like, especially if you've done it in for those years, and that's just something that you can't get out of your system, especially as a young man, as a young person. It's once you've got that, you're fit and able enough to do it.
Yeah.
When it's taken, you can't do it. It's hard to get out of your system.
Yeah, I can remember Dad was pretty disgusted.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
It's an interesting time. So, would you do motocross and a bit of flat track on that?
No, just motocross.
Just motocross?
Yeah, just motocross. And, I just never had any money. And I guess I had a girlfriend at the time that nobody was a big fan of.
Happens.
Yeah. And anyway, I think eventually she went by the wayside. And Steve was a road racer, as was Noel before him.
All right. Because this is what I'm going to ask you, because it was quite common at the time for a lot of guys to come from motocross to road racing.
Well, no. Just Darryl Beattie did it. And he did it at 16 and he went really good.
Okay.
So he was the first.
Yep.
Yeah, to do it at that age. And we're all the same age.
Because if you look... so yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at the Ashkenazis, the Goberts...
that was
Mladins,
much later.
A bit later, isn't it?
Oh, no, I raced with Mladin.
It did?
Yeah.
Because you look at... Because and I'm thinking of... Because that would have been, 90...
Yeah, it's a couple of years later.
Probably 3 or 4 years, isn't it, really? Yep.
So, I started late 89. They took me to Lakeside with a KR250, and to be honest, I wasn't that keen,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, was it?
And anyway, I went. And went around a few times and thought, this is a bit scary.
Yeah.
And,
is that one of those KR1S?
No, before that.
Before that? Okay.
Yeah, a tandem twin KR250.
Yeah, right.
And by the end of the day, I was, ripping back to the pits to put more fuel in it.
Yeah.
So then we got a KR1.
Yep.
Brand new.
Cool bike.
And Steve hotted it up a bit so that, it was more competitive at club level.
Yeah.
Because there was a 250 production class, but, being a D grade, you had to race against GSXR 750s.
Wow.
So, things progressed really, really quickly.
So you must have felt pretty comfortable getting straight into road racing.
I guess so, in hindsight. So I remember I got second in the A-grade feature about 2 months later.
Yeah.
And I was still D-grade.
Damn.
Yeah, and that was... So I didn't get into C-grade. They put me in a B-grade.
What, straight into it? Yeah.
Yeah, and... things went... I guess they went good, and so we thought we'd get a 250 Proddy for the next year, like a KR1S. And I went to Tasmania.
Was that Simmons or Baskerville?
Baskerville.
Yeah.
Dad took me down.
Wow.
Very reluctantly. He did.
Yep.
To his credit, he did.
Wow.
In his bricklaying truck, with the tray back.
That's a big trip, mate.
It was.
In a bricklaying truck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I remember it started off bad because I kind of met this girl the night before we left, and I think I walked back up the street at like 5 a.m, and we had to drive to Melbourne.
Oh, man.
Well,
You're at that age.
what do you do?
Yeah. You're living the life, to the fullest.
So he wasn't impressed to begin with. But anyway, we went down there, and I remember I crashed. That was the first time I crashed.
Really?
Yeah, going into turn 1.
So you hadn't crashed a road race bike?
No.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And that was... He sort of shit himself, and so did I.
Yep.
But we didn't even have any spare parts. So you had to drive in Hobart to get a front brake lever.
Yep.
And we taped it back up, and I ended up getting third. So my first Australian Championship race.
So that was an Australian Championship round there, yep.
Yeah, so Troy Corser won.
Yep.
And I think Tom Larson got second and I got third.
Wow. It's a great entry.
So at this stage, I'm thinking, this road racing thing's pretty easy,
Yeah.
And then after that, I know that I went to the next race on my own.
Okay.
Dad didn't want to go, so I borrowed a van off my mate at Bedford.
Yep.
And
cool.
Took another couple of mates.
Yep.
And we went to Phillip Island, and that didn't go so good.
So what year is this, you reckon?
90.
That's 90, yeah.
Yeah.
So was this a support race for the Grand Prix, or was this...
No, it's not the next Australian Championship round. So at this point, I'm coming third in the Australian Championship, so I think I'm killing it.
Yeah.
And, I think I got 16th and 17th.
Yeah.
But there was 90 trying to qualify.
90 Proddies?
Yeah.
Wow. So when people talk about, the depth and the growth of the Proddy series in the 90s, that's what you were contending with?
Yeah, so, 50 dudes went home.
It's insane.
Because they didn't qualify.
So you make your journey from no matter where you are in Australia to Phillip Island?
Yep.
And there's a chance that you didn't make the time, so you're out.
50 people.
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's why we had such a good road racing pedigree here at that time, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yep, it was good.
What were the bikes? Obviously, you're on the KR1. What were some of the others that...
KR1S and RGVs.
That was the thing? Everyone's on that? Yep.
Yeah.
And we must have had a lot of them here at the time.
Yeah.
Who else was there? Troy Corser?
Yeah, he was a year ahead of me.
Was he?
Yeah,
okay,
so he was at the pointy end. And John Allen and Barry Allen.
Yep.
Good mates of mine.
A lot of it was time, I'm guessing. Like what you're saying, he was a year ahead. The more time you had to be there for the year before makes a huge difference, doesn't it? Yeah.
And, so 6 months before that, I was at club. I just started racing at club level, so there is a step.
Yeah.
From club level to national level.
Yeah. Man, that's insane.
Yeah.
What did you think of riding Phillip Island at that time?
I couldn't believe it. I was running off the inside of the corners.
And so much room, eh?
Thought I was going too fast, and
I
have to pick it up, and because I went on the grass on the inside.
What a place, eh?
Yeah.
You just get lost there, eh?
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those. I know. I said it to Shelby. You get in there and
Yeah.
you just got to rewire your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I think the lap times, I looked at Shelby's lap times and I think she did a 57, which, you know, it's pretty good on a Ninja.
Yep.
And I think I might have done 54s.
Okay, yep.
In 1990.
Wow.
But our bikes are a fair bit faster than a Ninja.
Okay.
Mm.
So 3 seconds. So what's made it better? Tyres?
Yeah, for sure.
Suspension?
Both, yeah.
But yeah.
We weren't allowed to touch our suspension.
So part of the Proddy thing had to be Proddy brake, Proddy suspension.
Mm-hmm. We weren't even allowed a steering damper, and
really?
they needed one.
They did. Wow. Yeah. I think, is that something that's missing here now?
I don't know what's missing. You know, is anything missing? I don't know. It's I guess the bike itself is what's missing.
Yeah, the tool to be able to have something like that.
Yeah, and the amount of people wanting to do it.
Because I look at the 300s or the 400s now as they've transferred into.
Mm.
It seems pretty perfect for someone to go into and do the same.
It is. Like, I guess the following year is probably more to the point because I graduated to the front.
Yep.
And
was Troy Corser still in that then?
No, he moved on to a 250 Grand Prix bike with Peter Jackson.
Okay. Yep.
But you know, towards the end of '90, sort of Mladin came in and some other guys. It was super competitive in '91.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Really, really competitive.
I can only imagine. And you get people like, obviously, Matt Mladin coming in, and you look at his career over the time.
Mm.
I'm sure he was a pretty hard-nosed competitor at the time too.
Yeah.
So it would have been some great racing.
Made Bradley look like a pussycat.
Really?
Yeah. That was good for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It helped you not improve, but helped you get to the front. And
compared to those guys, you know, him and Chris Hill, they've been racing national level for 10 years.
Wow.
You know, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a clubby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to be able to go from club straight up into that and, you know, be somewhere, you know?
Yeah, it was a bit surreal.
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes because I'd get out in front and not know what to do.
What, like racecraft, wasn't there?
Yeah,
just mistakes.
Mistakes, you know, knowing when to go fast, when not to go fast.
Did you do a full season at it?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how was that, travelling around doing that?
It was really cool.
Yeah?
No, I had a Mitsubishi L300 Express by the stage, yeah.
I don't think they've changed them still. The Express van's still the same.
Yeah, 5 on the tree. It was good.
Very cool.
But yeah, I did it with my mates mostly.
Yeah.
I think I did really good in Perth, I remember, at the second round.
Yep.
So again, Mum and Dad got excited. So Dad drove down to Mladin.
Wow.
To meet up for the following weekend. But yeah, in Perth I was on my own.
That's a long journey.
Like 100% on my own.
Yeah. No mates?
No.
So what say a championship at that era, we're talking Lakeside would have been in there. Phillip Island, you've just said.
Yeah.
Baskerville.
Yeah.
Would it be Barbagello or would it be...
Yeah, it was.
Barbagello?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mladin.
And Mladin. That's your 5 places.
Eastern Creek. 6 places.
6 places.
Mm.
Yeah. So you had to do all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's a lot of travel, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good. As I said, I'm good mates with John and Barry Allen, and they're a lot older than me.
Yeah.
They don't seem it now, but they were then. And you know, they were good. They were really hard on me.
Were they?
Yeah, but I travelled with them.
Yep.
Yep.
Made it a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah, they bullied me from one side of Australia to the other.
Perfect. Tell you what, he's had a long career, John Allen, didn't he?
Yeah, he has.
I remember watching him at Lakeside on a 500 Grand Prix bike.
Yeah, fantastic rider.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really nice and smooth. How did you travel over to Perth? Like, how was it going over there?
At that stage, I put my bike in with Paul Feeney's guys.
Ah.
Yeah, so they went in a box trailer, I think, with Terry Pavils and Cameron Petty's and Jamal Grays and went across.
And what, you flew? Or?
I flew, yeah. Yep, and then I had to stay with them as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Was the state of road racing pretty damn good then? Like,
crazy, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you go to one of these events, it was like a circus rocking into town? Would it be like that?
Yeah. There was always a Meet the Riders night, Thursday night.
Yep.
That'd be hectic.
Yeah.
And, you know, the local club promoted it at the time, so it was their one chance to make money.
Yeah, right.
So it was always really good.
Yep.
And I guess the point I wanted to make before was, you know, it cost $110 to enter, and I'd spend $300 or $400 on tyres,
Yeah.
And if I won, I could win 900.
So you could make money out of it.
Well,
or you could break even out of it.
Yeah. So now it's like 900 to enter.
Yeah.
2,000 for tyres, and and you can still win 700.
Yeah.
And they wonder why no one's doing it.
Yeah, it's funny, hey, like you even look at dirt track as a junior, back in that sort of era.
Yeah.
You could have envelopes of cash if you did well. I never did well enough to get that, but now it's so hard for a club to even to do that. I guess it's entry numbers and stuff too.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess is a big part, but
it's hard.
It's just changed,
I think it's certainly back on the right track now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And like even things like they had that RPA days and stuff like that for the clubs, and we did one last Sunday, and just getting new people in that haven't been to them. I think that's MA or whoever's behind these things is really starting to focus on these things that will get more people into it.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of good people in MA, and Peter's at the top, and he's a very smart man.
For sure. It's
So
good to have someone technical at the top too, I know.
It's there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a good position to have someone like that in.
Yep.
All right, so 250 Proddies, great era.
Yep.
When did you get onto the Ducati?
Oh, much later.
Much later?
Yeah, there was a retirement in between.
Was there?
Yeah.
What did you retire? Was it money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Common theme through the sports, I guess.
Yeah, like the probably year it went. I remember I went into the last round,
Yep.
second in the championship.
Where's the last round?
Phillip Island.
Okay, yep.
And I'd gotten 3 podiums in a row at Wanneroo, Malalar and Lakeside.
Yeah.
So that obviously lofted me up to second in the championship, which was pretty cool.
Yep.
And then I crashed at Eastern Creek, got a bit excited.
Yep. Happens.
Yep. But I got sick at Phillip Island. I had a really bad flu. I remember that. And I think I got 12th in the first race.
Wow.
Yeah. And I ended up 5th in the championship, like 4 points out of second.
Far out. What a competitive championship, eh?
Yeah.
5th to second.
But Matthew, he won so many races that he didn't even have to do the last round.
Wow. So, Matthew Mladin.
Yes.
So was he, just that good?
Yeah.
That's what it was? Like,
yeah, like
obviously determination, desire and everything.
I mean, we had a couple of really close races. Yep. Like where, I followed him across the line on his back wheel, but,
yep.
I was never going to beat him. I passed him once and regretted that.
Wow. Just straight back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, swap paint.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Tell you what, that era of the AMA that he went over into, that was so cool to watch.
Yes.
Especially probably someone yourself that's raced, had combat with the guy as well at times.
Oh yeah.
Well, it'd be pretty cool to see,
Really good mates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Iconic person for our sport too. I feel anyway. But and so you gave up at the end of that?
No, Dad got a loan.
Yeah. To get you racing again?
I actually got an offer for a superbike ride at the end of that year.
Yeah? So what year is this?
91.
This is 1991, yep.
Yeah.
So what would an offer have been for a superbike? What to ride?
An RC30.
Wow.
I won't go into it too much, but it come January, things changed and there was a budget cut and they decided they needed to run with someone that was Melbourne-based.
Okay. Yep.
For testing, and that was the reason we were given. And so I was left without a ride.
Did you get to ride one at all?
Yeah, actually I did it at the end of that year.
Yeah, okay.
So Dad got a loan.
Yeah.
And bought me a superseded TZ.
Oh, yeah?
And I raced Tiffany Grand Prix all year.
Yep. And it would have been, but what was the price to go into something like that at that time? Would it have been a huge jump up from Proddy?
Yeah, that knew they were 25,000.
For TZ 250?
Yes.
In 1992?
Yeah.
Man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And obviously your tyre bill's going to be through the roof on it.
Yeah. I was kind of lucky. I had a ride in the Super Street Series as well.
So what was that?
FZR 600.
Yep.
With Yamaha Australia and Roy Dennison.
Yep.
And we were Michelin backed. So
Yeah, okay.
that was a separate series.
Yep.
First time I raced a 4-stroke. So that went pretty well.
Yep.
But I got a good deal on tyres.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah, it did.
Was it a good bike, the FZR?
No.
Because I'm thinking in my own head, you're riding a TZ250, like a purpose-built race machine, and then you're going over to that.
Yeah.
Gee, that must have been an odd time.
I'd say when it was hard was at the New South Wales titles when you're trying to ride both.
Well, like switched over same weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Yep.
one's got the gears go one way, and one's got the gears go the other way, and
Yeah.
you know, one's
Yep.
got handlebars on top of the clamps, one's got handlebars on the bottom of the clamps.
One feels like Jello, one feels.
So when I see a motocrosser these days adjusting their lever like 2 mil, I'm like, oh, really, mate?
Yeah, compared to what you've been used to.
You might
over
be
time.
focusing on the wrong things.
Yeah. Come back to focus on yourself for a bit, eh? That's wow. Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been a good change.
Yeah, it was good.
And at this point, you weren't in the industry. You're still at SKF.
In '92, I'd left SKF.
Yeah. Okay.
They sponsored me in '91.
Yeah.
And there was a management change at the end of that year.
Uh-huh.
And the new manager turned up at Archerfield. Because at that stage I was working in the engineering department.
Yep.
And I used to clamber up and down all the CSR quarry conveyor belts
Yep.
to survey the bearings so that
Yep.
we were ready for a breakdown. So the engineering guys that I worked under, they loved me. They used to come to my races and everything.
Yep.
And this guy turned up and wasn't that impressed that I raced motorbikes, and basically turned up with a resignation letter for me.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
bit hard, isn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't do that these days, but
No, it'd be a lot more difficult now.
yeah. So the next year, you know, I actually moved to down at Matt's house.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and lived in Sydney.
Was that Camden?
Yeah,
Isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh wow. So you guys were rivals, and to live there, friends.
We become friends
Yep.
through '91,
Yeah,
racing
okay.
each other. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. What are some highlights from those years? Those Proddy years. Some things that were really stand out to you now.
Passing him at Mladin. That's
Really?
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That must be a huge thing.
Yeah, it was the first time. Well, not the first time I'd led a race because I used to get the start.
Yeah.
And they'd run me down. you
Okay.
know. But at Mladin, I'd it was fifth and then fourth, and slowly it come down to just him and I. And then the second last lap off. And, to be honest, my bike was a B-stick quicker than his.
Okay.
And which nobody would believe because they all thought he was cheating. I can tell you he wasn't.
Yeah. He just had ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty big guy,
Right.
Anyway, I got a good draft on him and got up the inside and passed him. I thought, wow, I'm leading, let me
Yep.
go. And man, I was only in front for one corner.
Straight back in.
Yeah, there was no room.
I love competitors though. It's cool to see because
Yeah.
you need those people.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, it's good.
For everyone to improve.
in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I learnt so much from him.
Yep.
Yep.
So when you went back to your dad got that loan to go to that racing the TZ, was that a good year to jump up into
Yeah.
Grand Prix?
It was. It was good. Yeah, it was good. The bike wasn't the best, but, it was stock. And
Yep.
it was a hard year. Towards the end, it was held together with duct tape.
Wow.
I remember going to Phillip Island for the World Superbike meeting on my own.
Yep.
So I didn't have any tyre warmers all year. I
Wow.
didn't have anyone to give me a pit board,
Yeah.
later on in the year. So it was hard.
So you were racing you battled your way through this the whole time, eh? And
I just didn't come from that background,
Yep.
I guess.
you've worked hard through it, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Yeah, it was
So
good.
no warmers for the whole time?
No.
Jeez.
I broke my collarbone at
Yep.
Wanneroo, so I missed that round.
Yep.
And then, the biggest bummer of that was the next round was Lakeside, which is probably where I'd have gone the best.
Yep.
And I had to ride with a broken collarbone.
How'd you go?
Oh, no, not that good there. No, I think I would have got somewhere between fourth and sixth. Seems that's where I got in every race.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I got sixth in the championship.
Who was riding Grand Prix? What was that?
Stephen Whitehouse,
Yeah.
Rene Bongers,
Yeah.
Ricky Rice,
Yep.
Craig Connell,
Yep.
Rowan Pask.
Geronimo.
Oh, no, they were
Not that-
later.
later than
Much
that?
later,
Yep.
yeah.
See, Ricky Rice is still racing.
Yeah.
I seen
he's
him the
back.
other weekend at Moore Park. Oh, when you're up
Yeah.
there with me, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's
He's just started again, yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, no, a Grand Prix bike too, I think.
Yeah, that year model actually.
Is
So
it?
not- Yeah.
Yeah, TZ as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
I seen the bike and I'm like, oh, it looks like that, but
Mm.
so damn collarbone. How many times have you done that?
Once.
Out of all the years of riding bikes? Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Lakeside, special place for you?
Oh, I don't even know what to say there. So it scares the shit out of me, to be honest. It's so dangerous.
Yeah.
And I did Japanese schools there for 3 years.
What do you mean?
So we used to teach the Japanese to road race.
Ah.
So there'd be, well, it started out, there was about 30 of them. It got down a bit after that because they had their own financial issues in the early 90s. But
What, so they'd fly out?
Yeah. And we had a fleet of NSR 250s and FDR 250s.
Yeah.
And we'd stay at the Caboolture Hotel at Morayfield for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And travel to Lakeside every day or down to Maikacha.
Yeah.
And I was one of the coaches. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So I did a lot of laps of Lakeside.
Yeah, you would have.
Oh, so I think we would do 400 laps a day there sometimes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of history that you just never picture happening here, you know?
No, so that was amazing. But, you know, because of my exposure to the place, I guess I saw a lot of bad things.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come through a time that you would have seen a lot of things, you know, through there.
Yeah, that Armco's not the safest thing in the world.
No.
No.
No. When you're on a good lap there, though, it must feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those places where if you could tie it together, it'd feel all right.
Yeah, so obviously you asked me about the Ducati.
Yeah.
So I stopped at the end of 92.
Yep.
I went to Malaysia, actually, for a world endurance race.
Okay. What on?
RC30.
Oh, so that's when you got to ride an RC.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I rode with Damon Buckmaster.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Do they like, at this time, that would have been the biggest road race bike that you would have been on?
Yeah, for
Correct?
sure. Oh, yeah.
How was it?
Well, compared to the Formula One bike that Carl Fogarty was racing, it was pretty slow.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was his bike? He would have had a...
Formula One Kawasaki.
Kawasaki?
Yeah.
Wow. So that was 93?
92, late 92.
Okay, so he just before he would have went on to...
but he went into World Superbikes the following year.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
So how was that going over there to race?
It
That
was
a bit
so
eye-opener,
cool.
wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, we had a ball. We were 21. That was myself, Damo Buckmaster and Ben Archibald.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, names that have been around for a long time too.
All trying to get arrested for a week.
Did you get arrested?
No,
No?
really.
Oh, mate, you just look at eras that come through certain things and certain times, like, you know, every Aussie dirt track title or something.
Yeah.
You remember some of the people and you look back on it and think, how are you still like not arrested, or you know, the Sunday night after Australian dirt track title or something. Gee, some things happen, and I'm guessing going to race in Malaysia or race over in Asia, you'd be the same.
Yeah.
Your wild time.
Yeah, it was good fun.
RC30 live up to the hype?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, I guess. Yeah, I've ridden one around the road too in Tasmania. That's probably more memorable.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
You'd have a nice, good bike to ride around on there.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Thought I was Joe Dunlop for a day, you know.
For a day. There's a few of them down there, actually.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, there's a gentleman that's got a bit of he's the president of the SP1.
Oh,
club.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
a pretty well-known guy down there, so I'm not talking out of school, but they get together, and for such a small place, there's a fair few of these pretty prestigious motorbikes these days.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, good place to ride a motorcycle.
Definitely.
So after you come back from there, actually, who else was racing over there? You obviously, in your team, you had Archibald and Buckmaster, Damon Buckmaster.
Yeah, Buckmaster was with me.
With you, yeah.
Yeah, and James Knight and Steve Whitehouse rode the other bike.
Yep.
And Ben was the team manager. He had a broken collarbone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Far out.
Yep.
So 21 years old, travelling over there to race bikes, that would have been a pretty damn cool feeling.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
And did you think that, you know, at that point, like, you hadn't worked as such in the bike industry, did you think you'd be making a career out of it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's on, yeah. It's just, it's on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that didn't happen.
Yep.
So I ended up moving home from Sydney sort of the next year, and back to reality. Got a job at the bike shop in Toowoomba, and which went pretty well. I wasn't racing anymore.
Yeah.
But I was dead keen to race. And I think midway through 95, my friend Darren, that used to work as a mechanic at the schools, he was importing RS250s and selling them from Japan. So I'd go down and help him on the weekends and spend some time working on the bikes. And eventually he relented and said, all right, well, I'll let you ride one.
Wow.
So I think I did the Greg Hansford Memorial in 95 for the Sporties.
Yep.
And that was my first race in 2 years.
Wow.
That was good.
Yep.
Yep.
Did all right?
Yeah, I got second.
On an RS?
Yep.
Who against?
Rip Crocker beat me.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yep.
Wow. What was he on?
He bought Craig Connell's latest TZ.
Really?
Yeah. So the RS I rode was a 91 model.
Yep. We went through an era there where we were getting a lot of RSs here, weren't we?
Yeah.
It was quite common.
Darren was bringing them in,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing, growing up in that era, looking through the, tradable, just bikes and stuff. We used to see a lot of those to come through.
Absolutely.
At that time.
So yeah, that went pretty well, and then I think I did Eastern Creek and Lakeside.
Yep.
ASBK rounds, and I got into 59s for the first time.
First time ever? Yeah.
Yep. Did the whole race in the 59s at Lakeside, which I was happy with.
This on a RS?
Yeah, because it was a 91 model, so my goal was to try and beat the 91 lap record.
Yep.
So that was about all I could do, really. And I did that. I still only got fourth in the race, but,
Geez, they must have been moving then.
Yeah, Rip got into 58s.
Yep. Wow, that's definitely moving around that place, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was good, and Gary McCoy was a friend of mine at the time, and he was riding Don Bramich's Ducati.
Okay.
And we were pitted together.
Yep.
And I guess Donnie took a bit of a shine to me at the time.
Yep.
So the next year, I know that he wanted me to ride the bike, but with Donnie in those days, you had to pay, and I had no money.
Yeah.
So Gary's dad, Dave, paid the fee.
For you?
Yeah.
Gary McCoy's dad?
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and that went really good.
Yeah.
I got second, and I got the National 600 Super Sport Lab record.
Wow.
At Lakeside.
So was that a 748R?
748 SP.
SP. Yeah, okay. Nice bike.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good for me to get off a 250 and onto that, because it was more of a race bike compared to a Japanese 600 at the time.
Yeah.
I had a dry clutch, and the gearbox worked.
They were sort of pretty ahead for their time.
Yeah.
In a production.
It's difficult to set up.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, very difficult to set up. But
once you got it though, feel good?
Yeah, I was suited to it for sure. Mm.
Yeah, they really paved the way for like the next generation of race bikes too.
Yeah.
Really.
And we were having a conversation there before about the tyres. And
about to bring it up.
Yeah, so I, at the time, the year before, I managed to get a job as a sales rep for Faceta.
Yep.
So I was a Dunlop rep.
Wow.
And
what did you know about tyres at that time?
Probably quite a bit, I guess, compared
From
to
your
most.
racing?
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So, that was good. And Ken was kind enough to let me off for the weekend and let me race.
Cool.
But the following year on the Ducati, Donnie had a Bridgestone deal. And they were good.
The Bridgestone is good?
Yeah. And there was no problem for me to ride the bike on Bridgestones.
Yeah.
Except at the stay meeting the weekend before, I went under the lap record, and then it became a problem for me to ride on the Bridgestones. So
for your work?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's a conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember sitting out in that new company car crying in the car park for a couple of hours after I got threatened.
So what's your decision? Do you ride the bike or do you lose your job? I guess that's where you're threatened with.
Yeah, so I had to use Dunlops.
Had to happen.
Which I had to buy, I will say.
So you had to use them?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got the lap record on those.
So they're still good too?
Not as good.
So the Bridgestone was a better tyre at the time?
I couldn't use the tyres that they were using on the Japanese bikes because I had a bigger back rim.
Okay. Well, the SP did, or the 748 did?
748 did.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know at the time was, depending on what Dunlop rider you were, you got better tyres,
Okay, so even filtered through to here, like you hear that of the GP story, the fly-ins and stuff. So even in Australia, that was the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Well, I worked there.
So that happened?
It's turned up right in front of me.
Okay, so you get to an Eastern Creek. And Joe Blow's riding. What year are we talking?
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Joe Blow's riding a Ansett GSXR. Here comes a bike. Here comes some tyres.
Or a mobile Honda.
Or a mobile Honda.
Something
or whatever
like that.
it may be. Just a Winfield bike, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
That's how it'll work?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Mm.
Is a control tyre a good thing?
I don't know. I don't trust them.
Okay. You said at the start, sometimes controversial person. Because like when you say that stuff, that's why control tyres are supposedly a level playing field.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah, that's right.
So the 748 was good on both though. In the end, like it worked out all right.
Yeah, it worked out all right.
Yeah. Who are you racing in that series?
Oh man, it's so deep.
Deep as well. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy deep.
Craig Connell's underrated, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's underrated. I thought he did pretty well,
Sorry, I think he did amazing, like incredibly well.
Yes.
But it's just not a name that's floated around as much for as I think he did an insane thing,
Yeah, good rider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really good rider, and
Very different to me.
in riding style.
Oh yeah.
I talked to you about riding style, I said it to you last week. Where'd you get your riding style from?
Oh, who knows? I don't know.
Just picked it up.
Yeah. Mm.
You're a stylish person. I said it even to Tamara when she was in here. You're a stylish person on the bike. Like you've got like a couple of photos recently of the off-road stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, man, you've got like a real good, like your body position and that. Like, just picked it up.
Oh, I think if you've been coaching it long enough and studying it long enough,
you do it.
Polish up. Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like,
yeah. Yes.
Because you need to have it if you're going to be fast. And you look at people and you're like, oh wow, that's a good body position or whatnot. So
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so that was interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a
yeah. Anyway, I got a Yamaha ride out of it, believe it or not.
Did you really?
Yeah, well, we were the Yamaha distributors.
For sure.
Faceta was Yamaha.
So what was the bike then? You would have went to a Thunder Race? A Thundercat?
Thundercat,
yeah. Is this when you were doing the commercials?
Yeah. Yep.
How'd that start?
The commercials? Or,
yeah.
Well, I worked there, so it was an obvious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to do it, basically. You were the person that was going to do it.
Yeah. It was just so easy to have me there. I was already in the office. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew how to ride. Everything's there.
Yep.
That would have been like coming from a 748 SP to a Thundercat. Man, that would have been a weird thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But it was desperately short on the competitors.
Okay.
And it had a couple of major flaws.
What sort of things?
Well, the gearbox, was used to take all the skin off your toe changing gears. And I'm pretty sure the forks used to bend under the motor when you were trying to brake.
Yeah.
And the motor dragged on the ground through left-handers, which I hated.
You hated left-handers, or you hated the motor?
I didn't like the motor touching the ground. Some guys can do that, but for me, that was, I come off a Grand Prix bike. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that'd be definitely strange.
Yeah.
Well, so you get like a hungry corner or something, dip into it. Next thing she's...
Yeah.
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 Be a weird feeling.
Not good going through Lukey, I can tell you.
No, wouldn't be.
No.
Not very confident. And I guess with an SP, you wouldn't have done that ever.
No.
At all.
No.
No. Geez, they were ahead, weren't they, at that time?
Yep. But, I was riding one in 99, and I remember Kevin Curtin passing me at Mallar on his R6 and coming out of the hairpin. He must have put like 6 bike lengths on me. So things change fast.
Yeah, that's Japanese, isn't it? Yeah. They do that, don't they?
Well, the Thundercat turned into an R6.
Progressed into an R6.
And I was on the wrong end of that.
Yeah. How long did you stay on the Thundercat for?
Not long.
Not long.
4 months.
Not long at all.
No.
How come?
I couldn't afford to buy the tyres.
Yeah, okay.
And it was very hard to justify in my mind throwing good money after bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what'd you do then?
Retired.
That was it? Come back?
Yeah, the next year.
What on?
Ducati.
Yeah, okay. Same team?
No, different. It's funny, once you ride a Ducati, you become a Ducati person. And
yeah.
I think I got flushed out by the Ducati people. I said no at first, but kind of got pushed into it. And then 98 ended up being my best year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what was the Ducati for then?
748 SPS.
SPS, yeah, okay. Yep.
Yep.
Australian series?
Yeah, I only did 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Because I had, still didn't have budget to do the whole series.
Yep.
So we did Lakeside, Eastern Creek and Phillip Island.
Yeah, right. 3 tracks did it flow pretty well for that bike.
Yeah, it was
Bit
good.
down.
And it was a good bike for the year as well. It was, a competitive bike. So I didn't sort of finish any better than 4th, but I didn't finish any worse than 6th.
So at that time, and just tell me if I'm wrong, but would that have been put into like a super sport?
Yeah, I was in the super sport
category,
race.
wasn't it? Yeah, yep.
But you had 2 Mobile Hondas,
Yeah.
2 Team Kawasaki Australia bikes with Pitt and Buckmaster.
ZX sixes, wasn't it?
Yeah. And you had, Paul Free on the Entered Air Freight, Suzuki, and, all the factory riders that race superbikes race 600s as well.
Yep.
Craig was on the factory Ducati.
Yep. Pretty good combo.
Yeah, it was a strong field.
Then you get around that time would have been when Steve Martin was on the superbike too.
Yeah.
That'd be right, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With Arthur Davis's
one. No, that was 98, yeah.
It was the same year, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, because that was starting to come into a reasonably good era for Ducatis and that here.
Yeah.
Fairly solid time.
Yeah, real good.
So, how'd you go doing that then? Obviously, you're saying that's your best year. What made that the best year?
I felt my best ever race was at Lakeside.
In that year?
Yeah, and I got 4th.
Against Connell? Ball free, that whole field that you're just in?
Yeah.
Wow, it's a solid competition.
Yeah, I was happy, and I did 59.4.
Yeah.
And I think the record to this day is a 59.2.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a fast lap at that place.
Yep.
What's it feel like when you're going that fast around there?
Weirdest thing. I remember that race. It was like I was going slow in my mind.
Yeah.
Felt like I was going slow.
Do you have that often?
That was the only time I can ever remember that.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
People talk of that feeling like you sort of sit there, you're above the bike sometimes.
That's the only time that ever happened.
Once for you?
Once.
That's cool.
Yep.
And I'm guessing it was one of those things where you feel like you could do no wrong. Things are just flowing.
Well, it's weird. You're kind of thinking, man, I'm going slow. And you come around and the pit board comes out.
59. 59.
Yep.
Now, after that, you obviously did the other rounds, but did you pull the pin on racing for a bit after that or what?
The next year, we got another Ducati and it wasn't so good. That was an R.
Yeah.
No, honestly, there was something wrong with that one. It was the slowest one of all of them.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The most hyped one at the time. Yeah.
And I also raced an RS250.
Yeah.
I sort of decided that I really wanted to win, and I was never going to win in Supersport unless I could get a ride on one of the teams, which wasn't going to happen.
Yep.
And so I wanted to ride 250 Grand Prix again. So I got a ride in an RS250 with a guy, Andy Offer, in WA.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was looking to retire, but I wanted to win before I stopped. And
wow.
I probably should have just retired.
Okay.
I mean, it went good, but then there was one wet meeting at Phillip Island I pulled in.
Just not.
Yeah.
The desire's gone.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that anymore.
Did you, like you said, you had a collarbone,
you've
done the knee. Did you go through that whole period pretty well with injuries?
Yeah, no worries.
That's good.
Yeah, most of my injuries happened in my 30s and 40s.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how you made it through that whole crazy tracks, hundreds of laps?
I didn't crash much road racing.
No. It's a good thing, Tell me about Mountain Man, because you did that too.
Mountain Man or King of the Mountain? So the
King of the Mountain.
Yeah, King of the Mountain.
Right?
I did 11 of them.
Yeah, who was your teammates?
Gary McCoy twice.
Yep.
So we got second twice.
What on?
The first time on a KX250.
Yep.
That was in 93.
Yep.
They were 2 1-hour legs then.
Okay.
Yeah. That was cool.
What made that event so good? Like, it's an event people still talk about.
An amazing circuit.
That's what it is?
Yep.
Yep.
And
variation of people.
Yeah.
That's a big part.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, all disciplines.
Yep.
Yep.
So were your KX250 19, 18 set up, or would you?
Yeah, we ran a 21 front with an 18 wet on the back.
You did? Okay, yeah, right. Because that was sort of part of the cool part too. there's a bit of a variation for dirt track people, and then motocross is coming in.
And I guess for me, it's my hometown, a home track, and I really wanted to do good there. You know. Yeah.
And with Gaz, that would have been
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then they didn't run it. Well, the following year, I did it with Rowan Pask.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
On a CR250, and I think we got 5th.
Yeah.
And then they didn't run it in 95.
Yeah.
Or 96, I don't think.
Okay.
And then in 97, Gary and I did it again on a CR500.
Yeah.
And we got 2nd again.
Who to?
I think Lyndon Heffernan and Mark Kirkman won. Yeah, we won one leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were 3 legs, we won 1.
Okay.
And I think Leesk and Carroll got 3rd. Yeah.
Wow. Tell you what, like if you go back through the history and look at the names that have been to that, it's probably more than any event that we've had in the nation.
I think that the following year I rode my own Husky, a 610 Husky.
Yeah.
And I rode with a mate, Mark Dolly.
Okay.
And we won 3 out of 3.
Yeah, right.
And then I dropped a valve in the last one.
Damn.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been on it. So what's that, 97, somewhere around that?
98.
98?
Yeah.
That would have been a weapon of a bike.
So by this stage, you've won 4 of these races and still haven't won the thing outright.
Yeah.
Never did.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
As a competitor, that'd grind your gears. And I guess that goes to what you're saying too about retiring. You want to win it or something before you retire.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess it's the same sort of deal. It gets you sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So was there a point where you just stopped riding? Did you get burnt out from all of it or what?
No.
Just loved it?
Yeah, I've never burnt out from riding.
Yeah.
No.
It's your thing?
Yeah. I mean, I've stopped riding due to other factors, probably burnout at work or, life's not going so well where you lose your enthusiasm for life more than losing enthusiasm for riding.
Yeah.
And, get fat and then it's too hard to ride.
Then when you get on it, it's too much hard work.
Yeah, it's no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the skills you've got are still part of you, but you don't have the movement or the flexibility that you have.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's happened?
Yeah.
How'd you get around that?
Oh,
Just get back into it?
Yeah, there's been a lot of bumps in the road in the last 8 years. And
yeah.
I managed to get myself fit again and decided to race off-road.
Yeah, right. Why off-road? Was it just something that was exciting at the time, or was it...
After racing supermoto and motocross and road racing and dirt track...
Done them all.
I wanted to do off-road as a challenge. And I was fascinated by it.
You were, yeah?
Yeah, and, I'd been to quite a few events when I was obviously running Husky and, some of those events I thought, I would like to have ridden today.
Yeah.
So I'm not very good at it.
But...
Yeah, I'm never going to win, but it's a real personal challenge.
Yeah, I think that's something you've got to have,
Yeah.
Like as a goal or something, a challenge.
It is.
Yeah.
It gets me on that mountain bike.
Yeah. Not saying chiseled for fitness, but it chisels your aggression, or you've got such a focus to work to. Hey?
Yeah, I need to ride.
Yeah. Supermoto, when did you start that?
I started that in 2001.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Stanthorpe.
Yes.
Gary McCoy, KX500 time. That sort of era?
Yeah.
That'd be about right?
Yep, exactly it.
Exciting time.
Yeah.
So what were you on then, the 610?
Yep. Yeah.
What a cool bike to do that on, eh?
Yeah, it was. It was good.
So the photos I've seen of yourself out at your Stanthorpe too, I'm guessing the pics now, looking at it. How long did you do that for?
Did it for a couple of years. It broke my arm really badly at Bairnsdale at the first national round in 02.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is that where they had was Bairnsdale the opener?
Yeah.
Down in Victoria? So where'd you go? Bairnsdale? Where else was there?
I don't know. I snapped my arm in half
So
and didn't do any more.
Out of it?
Yeah, like I broke it bad. That was
okay.
That was the end of it. Yeah.
So this is when you're 30s?
Yeah.
Like you're saying?
Had a mortgage. And
yeah.
I remember ringing my mum from Bairnsdale.
Yeah.
I won't tell you what she called me on the phone. And it wasn't. I don't think she knew I was there.
Yeah, right.
And I couldn't get hold of my wife.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm there on my own.
Yeah.
And
bike racing, eh?
And I'm like, oh, Mum, I've broken my arm.
Don't want to hear that part.
No.
Were you competitive straight away on the Supermoto?
Yeah, I was winning when I broke my arm.
Yep.
Yeah, I was winning that race.
So who was promoting that at the time? That was
Kev Williams.
It was Kev, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they had some good riders come back through that.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
And so you did a few years in that out Stanthorpe and.
Yeah, I did that. Then I stopped then, and I don't know. I was a rep for Cassins at the time.
Yeah.
And anyway, there was a change in Husqvarna distributorship at the time.
Okay. So who was doing it?
Hans Appelgren was doing it.
Okay.
And he was helping me, and then Paul Feeney took over.
Yeah.
And Paul Feeney asked him who he could get to ride Supermoto, and Hans said, "Well, get Jon Hafey." And so Feeney goes, "Oh, I know him."
Yeah.
So he phoned up and said, "Do you want to ride this Eddie Seal replica?"
Oh, geez.
And I didn't want to, I wanted to ride it, but I didn't want to race.
Yeah.
Because of plate to my arm.
Yeah, okay.
And he said, "Well, if you want to ride it, you're going to have to race it." Okay, I'll race it.
In.
Yep. And I did, yeah.
Because those Eddie Seal bikes, or that Husqvarna full factory bike, that was a pretty expensive bit of kit in 2004, 2005?
Yeah, it was 30,000.
30 grand.
Yep.
Big bucks.
Mm.
Funny the relationships, hey, like you're talking about knowing Paul. It's like 12 years after you would have met, him taking your bikes over to WA.
Yep.
Yeah. These things, like, you obviously, you know him and stuff, but, 12 years after, I know someone that can do it,
And now
relationships.
I work with all his ex-staff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to where you're at and everything soon, but what was it like to ride that bike?
Yeah, fantastic.
It's just a real good piece
That's
of
the coolest bike I've ever raced.
Really?
Yep.
What'd they call them? A TE 511?
It was a...
Was it TE?
No, it was...
what was it called?
An SM 630.
SM. Yeah, okay. So 630cc.
Yeah.
Where'd you ride that at? Willowbank?
I rode it... I raced it at... Coffs Harbour was probably the best race.
Rayleigh Park?
Yeah, that I had on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, fun track.
Yeah, what a track.
So who else got to ride that bike at that time, do you know?
Well, when I finished...
Did that then get passed to Troy?
Yeah, well, funny thing there is I wanted to move out of the accessory world in my working career, and a job came up at Yamaha.
Okay.
To be a bike rep.
Yeah.
And I got it.
Yep.
And I was 35. So I went and told, and they said, "Well, you can't race that Husqvarna." And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So I went and told Fiend. He's like, "Oh, I won't say exact words, but..." He said, "Well, who are we going to get?" And I'd watched Troy ride at Rally on a CRF 450.
Yeah.
With another mate of mine, Jason Kane, who I used to race Super Sport with.
Goulburn,
Yeah,
Jason Kane.
and he was there with him.
Yeah, okay.
And I was like, wow. And I said to Fiend, I reckon you should get Troy Herfoss. He goes, "Oh, I know his old man because they're from Goulburn. Fiend's from Goulburn."
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
So that's how that all started.
Is that right?
Mm.
When he came onto that bike, it was like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, the bike after the SMR 5.
Yeah.
That the next evolution, obviously, of bike.
He also got Josh McFarlane and Chad Turnbull as well, so he had 3 riders.
Yeah.
But yeah, Troy was, to me, it was outstanding. I remember, trying to get it through Stephen Cottrell's head that we needed to put him on a 600 Supersport bike, and he told me I was an idiot.
Really?
Yeah.
Super talented.
Yeah.
I believe Jason Kane, actually, I got a friend that's a good friend with him, reckons that Troy's one of the most talented we've had here.
Mm.
I think Jason's pretty adamant.
And fiercely determined.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, competitor and everything,
Yeah.
When he jumped onto that SMR, the next evolution of those bikes, I remember being out at Willowbank practicing Supermoto. And I'll use that term lightly, but seeing him come past, and same with Josh McFarlane and that pre-Aprilia time as well. It was pretty cool. Cause that series, mate, that really escalated at that time, eh?
Yeah, it took off and then just died.
Just died really quickly, There's a big investment, we had Alex Gobert and Josh McFarlane at Aprilia, Stuart Bennett, KTM, obviously a couple of other KTM guys as well at the time. Yeah, Husqvarna was Adam Sini and Troy Herfoss.
Yeah.
There's some great riders come through.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and some good tracks too, you know, along the way and good events, but it just dropped off really, really fast.
Yeah, I haven't. I've ridden once since then, but
Yeah.
I haven't ridden.
You're at beta now.
Yep.
Would you build up a beta for it?
Yeah, I would, and I'm sure Vic would. Vic's our warranty and service man. He was my mechanic.
Really?
At Fenny's, yeah.
Okay, so this is where the puzzle gets put together a bit. So some of the people, obviously the people that were involved in, was it Feeney Motor Group?
Yeah.
Was some good people.
PFG, Paul Fenny Group.
That's right,
Yep.
it was. Good people along the way as well. So a lot of those people you're working with today.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think Patrick is my boss now. He was Feen's right-hand man. He was very young at
Yep.
the time and obviously learned a lot.
Yep. Mate.
Kept all the good people or you know, got them all back. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic team of people.
Yeah, that's good. And obviously, as a brand now,
Yeah.
Beta seems to be making a big dent in the off-road world.
Yes.
Globally.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, it's obviously always been there, but I don't know whether it's algorithms. You're seeing more about it from more people, but the championships, the this, that, the things that are shared online, they seem to be in a really good place, yeah?
Yeah, I've won 13 World Enduro Championships in the last 5 years.
It's insane.
Yep.
What's his name? Steve
Halcombe.
Halcombe.
Yep.
I'm going to pronounce that right.
And
He
Brad.
seems like a great brand person.
Brad Freeman as well.
Great brand people, though.
Yeah. Yeah, the
What-
brand, you know, it's a family-owned brand, family-owned company.
Still.
Yes. Same family's owned it for 100 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So is it one of the older off-road
Absolutely.
motorcycle
Yes.
manufacturers? Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, they do all their stuff in-house.
Yep.
Yeah. Full house. Any exciting things coming?
Yeah, there is. Yep.
The 2022 stuff, obviously. Yep.
Yep, in 2023.
When you've worked for many manufacturers, you've worked for accessory companies. How far ahead are they? Like, would you be looking at 23 stuff in-house? 24?
Yeah, 23.
About a year and a bit, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you need to order a year in advance so they can get production organised.
Especially at the moment.
Yep.
You know, I guess that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and it's eye-opening for me to see how capable they are of making that happen, which, you know, sometimes can go back to the fact they've obviously got, you know, good relationships around the world that have been developed over a long time, and they always pay their bills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I guess, and that relies on the Feeney thing I mentioned before too.
Yes.
It's a business of relationships.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't have that, it's all disappearing pretty quick.
Yep. Yep.
What else you done in the meantime? You've collected BMXs, you've collected bikes. What's some of the toys that you've still got or want to get?
I don't think I want to get anything else. I think I'm cured.
Done.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Probably a girlfriend. That'd be good.
I don't know what to say. But
Yeah.
yeah, all the toys are done now.
Yeah.
What's the mountain bike? Is that Lapierre?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Good bike, same.
Yeah.
Really nice bike.
Yeah, well, I sold my Husky.
Yep.
So the plan was to get all. I thought my mountain bike was good enough, but I soon found at Nerang that it wasn't. I kept breaking it. So
Isn't it funny? You can chuck a bike straight into a place like that, and within 5 minutes you realise how underwhelming. You know, ride it for a year around the road and think this thing's all right, then ride somewhere like that and find it's underwhelming.
Yeah, well, for sure. I've got 4 mountain bikes.
Yeah.
So I've never sold any. So I've got them all.
Yep.
So I got the evolution all the way through. It's just amazing.
Yes, and that's Lapierre. You've kept.
I've got an 89 Specialised.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a 97 Castan.
What is a Castan?
Well, Dave Fuller got that for me, actually.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So the Castan family used to own Redline.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's quite a high-end bike and quite rare.
Is Dave a BMX person, a mountain bike person, or?
Yeah, Dave used to work at BMX Promotions.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He's someone that's got an interesting history as well.
Mm.
You know, first man to win a race on 999 Ducati.
Yeah, well, he was riding 250 Proddies when I started.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys would have had some good battles as well.
Yeah.
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 So he's still around the track a lot too.
Yep. He is.
What's the other bikes? What's the third one? You got that?
I've got a GT. It's an 07.
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty good. Seems like I bought it last week, but it's now a vintage bike.
Yep. It's funny how it goes, eh?
Yeah, I just handed that down to my little sister.
Oh, did you?
Mm.
Yep. Like you did with your KX.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yep.
Well, mate, we'll wrap it up.
No worries.
You got to get back up north.
Yep.
Skip all the traffic, and thanks for coming in. Like, genuinely, thank you so much for obviously taking the time out, and appreciate the time because everyone's busy. So
yeah, it is.
Thanks for coming in.
Always difficult. I didn't know, what part of my life we were going to cover.
Oh man, there's so much.
Yeah, well, it's too much, and
that's the thing. There's so much to tap into as well. And I had, like, I didn't write anything down. I had a good understanding of the things I wanted to sort of chat about and bike industry stuff and whatnot.
I certainly didn't expect to focus on road racing. So there you go.
Really?
No.
Yeah, I just genuinely interested. I got such a passion for that part of the sport as well. I just love to see. I'd love to see it get back to how it was, and I feel it's tracking that way. The people we've got involved as the racers and stuff, like you look, the approachability of the top class riders at the moment is incredible. Your Mike Jones, your Troy Herfosses,
absolutely.
Wayne, Brian Starring, like they're all so approachable and good for the sport. So that's a good thing. Josh Waters.
Well, as you know, I've only just got back involved really, so and I'm enjoying it. It's good.
Corey Turner, you're doing some stuff there, obviously.
Yeah.
It's cool. I appreciate to see that stuff too, mate. To see you out the racetrack, and you've got so much knowledge to pass on.
Yeah, I like working with Corey.
Yeah. He's a talent, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. So
if you haven't got a lot of time, I don't have a lot of time. But I'll give up my time if the rider's worth it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's something I've seen. I've seen you around at the tracks doing that. So it's nice to see people doing that.
Yep.
It's been done to you, obviously. So
yeah, that's
it's
right.
nice to have it back done.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Well, mate, thank you.
That's all we have time for on today's show. If you get the chance, head over to YouTube and hit subscribe on our channel. The other places you can find us are on Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast. Give us a rating and a review. Tell your friends, and be safe, everyone, and enjoy your week.